continuing on with your Unit 2 review, I filled up the first video, and then this is the second part. Alright. So for this, I'm just going to continue where I was. 2 equals, multiply straight across, 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 1 is 3, plus b. Now I'm going to subtract 8/3 from both sides. This is gone, that's 0, equal b. Then I'm going to come off to the left-hand side of this, what's left, and I'm going to do this. 2, I'm going to put that over 1, minus 8 over 3. When you are doing fractions and you're subtracting or adding, you have to get a common denominator. What is meant when people say this is that these denominator numbers, 1 and 3, have to be the same. And the only way we can make them the same is by multiplying. Alright? So you want to start with your smaller number and see if you can get it to match your larger one. So it's real easy to change a 1 into a 3 by multiplying. Just multiply by 3. If I do that, I don't even have to fix this entire fraction. So I'm going to, again, multiply the numerator and denominator by 3 on this first one. 2 times 3 is 6, over 1 times 3 is 3, minus 8 over 3. Now, since the denominators are the same, all I end up subtracting are the numerators. That leaves me with 6 minus 8 is negative 2 over 3. So that's my b. My final answer, I want to write it up in slope-intercept form. Y equals, the slope on this problem was 2/3 x, and now I know my y-intercept is negative 2/3. That is my final answer. So this equation is perpendicular to the first one. And I know that just by looking at the slopes. Moving on, number 10. And that one I just wanted you to find what the slope was. Didn't ask you anything about it, I just wanted you to find it. If you don't have a graph, the slope formula is probably the best thing to use here. Remember, I'm not going to give that to you. You've got to know it. So at one point they give you 3, 4. The other one's negative 9, 6. This formula is not anything that's long or complicated. All right, I'm just starting with the second y, subtract from the first, over the second x, subtract from the first. If you need to label them off, then do that. X value, first order pair, y value, first order pair. Repeat the process over here. So slope is equal to subtracting the y's, subtracting the x's, just making sure I start with the second one. Slope is equal to, in this problem, I'm going to do 6 minus 4 over negative 9, I'm going to put that in parentheses, minus 3, equal to 6 minus 4 is 2, negative 9, take 3 more away, I'm at negative 12, reduce this. I can divide both of these by 2, so that's what I'm going to do. 2 divided by 2 is 1, 12 divided by 2 is 6, bring the negative, and remember it is common practice if I have a negative fraction, this needs to be shifted up to the numerator. So my answer is negative 1 over 6. That is my slope. Looking at number 11. 11, 12, and 13. 11 and 12, write the slope-intercept form of the equation. Well, if I'm going to write the slope-intercept form, it looks like this. I'm going to have to find what is the slope, what is my y-intercept. Well, I can do that. First thing I'm going to get is my y-intercept. That's usually kind of easy to find on graphs like these. It looks like it is negative 4. So I can use that if I want to, and I can use rise over run. I'm going to have to rise and run a lot here. I'm going to rise and run all the way to 5, 4. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is positive. I look at it like I'm reading a book. That line at the end of it is continuing on into the positive numbers forever. So I'm going to get shape here. So y equals, change that m, x minus 4. Number 12. Excuse me. So, again, same thing. You need to find the slope, the y-intercept. The y-intercept in this problem is 0. It goes through the origin. And then I can use that and rise and run if I would like. So I'm going to go up from 0. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3. And from there I'm going to go over to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3/5. The only problem this time, that line, that slope, happens to be negative. So filling in, y equals negative 3/5, x plus 0. Remember, the plus 0 will never show up on a multiple choice test if you have one. So I need to simplify that just a little bit. Negative 3/5 x is my answer. Number 13, that's just looking at a graph and finding the slope. They give you 2 points to rise and run, so I'm going to use them. So starting at the lower of the points, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to run 1, 2, 3. Make sure I reduce that. My slope on 13 is 2. 14 and 15 have the same directions. 14, they give me 17, negative 8. The other point they give me is 20, negative 13. And they want me to find the slope. So again, slope formula, x of 1, y sub 1, x of 2, y sub 2. Slope is equal to y sub 2 is negative 13 minus y sub 1 is negative 8. X sub 2 is 20 minus 17. Keep working with it. Equals, that's going to be negative 13 plus 8. 20 minus 17, I can go ahead and do that. That's going to be 3 equal to, need to work with the top a little bit. So working that out, it should be negative 5 in the numerator over 3. 15 I'm going to skip. It's worked the same way. Just watch your negative signs. On number 16, all I've got to do is look at that kind of problem. Find the slope of each line. Well, there's only one. And it is given by y equal 8/3 x plus 4. It's already in slope-intercept form. There's nothing to do but look at it. It is that number in front of x. So my slope in this problem is 8/3. 17, find the slope of the line parallel. So if I'm looking at 17, it's already in slope-intercept form. They say it's y equal 3x plus 1. All I want to know is, what would the slope of some new line, it didn't ask me to create it, but some new line that's out there, the slope of it would be 3 also. Because again, parallel lines, they got to have the same slope. 18. Looking at it, find the slope of a line perpendicular to each given line. So 18 and 19 have the same directions. So 18, the slope of the old line, just from looking at it, is 10/3. The new slope, if it's going to be perpendicular, would need to be the opposite sign, so I know it's going to be negative, and the reciprocal of 10/3 is 3/10. And lastly, number 19, same directions. Just from looking at it, I can see that the old slope was 4, So that means my new slope is going to need to have the opposite sign, so I know it will be negative. And the reciprocal of 4 is 1 over 4. So that would be my new slope. If they asked me to go and write an equation, they'd have to give me a point, and they didn't, and that wasn't the instructions. That's what we did on problem number 9. All right, that is your review in its entirety, except number 15, which again is worked the same way as 14 and 11, or I'm sorry, 10, I believe. If you have any final questions, you can email me. That will be just fine. Other than that, I will be collecting this review tomorrow. Make sure you have it.